Good morning, good afternoon, and good whatever it is to you. This is Vive Builds, and today we're going to be customizing the Gundam Kimaris from the HGIBO series. A little bit of backstory for this kit. This is the first model I used pre-shading and other advanced painting techniques. Outside of that, this build is pretty much straight out of the box with no mods, but I'm currently in a state where I'm figuring out ways to repurpose older builds, so I thought the Gundam Kimaris would be a good start. Starting off, I'm going to introduce this guy. If you watched my first video, then you know from the Esposito build that I tried using the S-Gundam parts and it didn't go too well, but now I'm determined to use his parts in this build. So, I decapitated him and took his knees away from him. The new headpiece gives off a more aggressive design than the curved head of the Kimaris. Next, I started adding plot plate to add some extra detail to the top of the chest, and at the very end I added vent from the builder part set to give my Gunpla some mommy milkers. The only mod I'm doing for the back is adding this 30-minute mission backpack and gluing it to the original back unit. To make the inner frame more visible and let those ankles breathe a little bit, I cut down the parts on the seam and now you're actually able to see the inner frame. I kind of self-explained that. Before I was done sanding, the results looked like a chef's kiss. I did the same thing to the other leg off camera, then I got to trying to mod the knees. Initially, I wanted to attach the new knees through a polycap like on the S-Gundam, but I was too lazy, and then I had an equally super crazy idea. Don't know what that is? Yeah, that's magnet tape. I'm going to use magnet tape on the knees, then attach small strong magnets to the bottom of my knees, and that should work as a twofold lazy and creative solution to my problem. The magnet approach works better than I expected, so I tried using Tamiya putty to fill in the gaps, and by the very end it looks pretty damn solid. Okay lads and ladies, this is going to be the longest section of the video, because these arms were single-handedly the reason that this video wasn't out a week ago. I wanted to change the Kimaris' curved armor to a more sharp and angular armor, so I tried using the shoulders from the Cerevi, but the pecs just didn't line up to where any articulation or posability was possible. For a few days I tried modding the shoulder joints on the Gundam frame to accommodate a peg, but the peg needed to move and I needed to drill a peg into a moving part. Then every time I tried I'd break the peg, and then I got a bunch of metal rods from my nards that are not for the crafty stuff, so I started popping literal rods of God all over my room, and long story short, it was a terrible mess until I had this very, very bright idea. I started off by taking the shoulder apart and replacing the polycap with an even bigger one from my spare parts bin. Next I drilled a hole to make the connection a little bit bigger, and then I added a small strong magnet. And if you guys are actually watching this video a little bit more intently, you guys are starting to see a reoccurring theme right now. I then completely got rid of the shoulder I was modding for like 2 or 3 days, and I just added another strong magnet to the arm. Finally, I added the Seraphis guns to the shoulder for autocannons, and I actually used a normal peg this time instead of a magnet. It works pretty good, but there are some drawbacks to it. First off, this arm is kind of like a quirky high school girl when posing, because you kind of have to press everything in and then move it up and down, but it doesn't really affect articulation too much because you can swivel it and you can move it up and down. But the second drawback is that this guy can't really use too many heavy top weapons. So if I wanted to use like a really long gun, he's just gonna drop it because, you know, the magnets aren't that strong. That's all the mods that I'm going to be doing, and put all together, this guy looks actually really good. I kind of like the pre-paint design, but the only thing that I feel that could actually ruin this is a really bad paint scheme. After spraying down a base coat of sparkly blue, I hit the COVID special and masked up parts and started laying down some fake gold. I low-key thought I was cooked when I took off the masking paper because some of the paint chipped off, but I just ended up repainting it by hand to where if I didn't even say anything, you guys probably wouldn't have even noticed.
I'm gonna throw my memories away. Now I feel I'm done, and I am cursed by every day till my time is gone. I've never felt this way before, and now I know this all for sure. I won't forget your last betray. I'll never forget this day.
forget this day.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching if you actually ended up making this far, but I guess I now have to end up making a name for this Gunpla. Because I was thinking about my girlfriend when making this, because she's actually inspired me for this build, I'm gonna name this the Gundam Maribel. Her name's not actually Maribel, but also I know that there's actually some Gooners out there, and we're not gonna really get down into that freak stuff right now. No, but seriously, shout out to my girlfriend because she always supports me with whatever endeavor that I do, whatever I love to do, and no matter how weird it is. She'll even pull up to me with the hobby shop, even though she doesn't like anything in there, she doesn't like Gundam in any anime or anything like that, but she still supports me and she still allows me to do those things. So thank you to Maribel. Her name's not Maribel, but like I said, we're changing the name for this. Seriously though, if you actually made it this far, comment down Maribel and I'm gonna have it up on the screen so you guys will be able to know how to spell it, because you know, I mean, what if I spelled it really weird? Without much further ado, I'm not gonna keep you guys here too much longer. This is Vibe Builds. Thank you for watching. I'm gonna go outside and I'm gonna touch some grass.